Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Andy, and welcome to today's Team Kentucky Update. Today, I'm very happy to share more great news about our economy, which continues to grow with amazing strength. We just completed the best two-year period in state history for both private sector investment and job growth, with nearly $21.7 billion new dollars invested in Kentucky, as well as a record 34,000 full-time jobs for Kentucky residents created just over the last 2 years. These are truly remarkable numbers, but we are not slowing down at all. We're starting off 2023 the way we finished 2022, by bringing significant job-creating economic development projects to our Commonwealth. This morning was the first Kentucky Economic Development Finance Authority meeting of the new year, and the board approved incentives for projects that will invest over $500 million in the Commonwealth and create nearly 600 new jobs. That is a great way to kick off the new year for our very first meeting of 2023, and suggests, just like the last 2 years, we are going to have a really wonderful year in terms of providing amazing opportunities for our people. Remember, a job is not just a number. It brings dignity. It brings security of providing for your family and better opportunities for your kids than maybe you had. And just think, with all of these new jobs and new industries we're locating, we're getting ever closer to reversing that trend of our kids leaving Kentucky to go somewhere else, and instead having the most talented out there moving to our Commonwealth. I think that's all of our collective dream, that our kids never have to leave Kentucky if they don't want to, because no matter how big they dream, they can chase those dreams right here in the Commonwealth. So today, we're going to announce a number of new locations and expansions. We start with the expansion of a company that is already a major employer of the Commonwealth and is a draw to other companies to locate in Kentucky. North American Stainless is investing $244 million in creating 70 full-time jobs at its Carroll County facility. North American Stainless is the largest fully integrated stainless steel producer in the United States, and all of its production lines are located right here in Kentucky. North American Stainless's total capacity is going to increase to 200,000 tons annually, which is a 20% growth in its production. The expansion includes a new cold rolling mill, new roll grinders, a new temper mill, and the expansion of the melt shop building to add a 400 metric ton crane. This is a company that has grown continuously since they first located in 1990. In fact, this is their 13th expansion in our state in that time, which is incredible. This commitment says amazing things about them. I think it also says amazing things about us and our Kentucky people and how we can deliver. I want to thank North American Stainless not only for its employment, but the fact that when you talk to other companies looking at where they want to locate, North American Stainless is very often that company that they mention needing to be close to. So with that, I'd like to invite North American Stainless CEO Chris Fuentes to join us. I know we also have Pat Graff, VP of Finance, Bill Jones, General Counsel, that are here with us as well. Chris, come on up.
Thank you, Governor, for inviting me to this press conference.
Please.
I'm excited to be here.
Good to see you again.
So I cannot say much more that the governor said so about the North American Stainless. I came here in 1990 from Spain for a period of supposed to be 3 years to help to build North American Stainless. Well, it has been 32 years and I'm still here. And the expansion, they never told me how many expansion I will do. So I'm still here. So I live in Kentucky for 31 years. So I'm Kentucky. I'm proud to be here. So I want to thank all the loyal and talented employees of NAS. I want to thank all the elected officials of Kentucky in DC for all the help they have bring us to support the $3 billion investment that we made in Kentucky. This is the biggest investment of Spain in the United States. So with this $3 billion, we have built the largest and most efficient stainless steel manufacturing company in the United States. We have capacity we melt about 50% of the total stainless steel melt in North America. Think for a moment, Carrollton, Kentucky, 50% of the total stainless steel melt in North America. So I came here in December 14 with my CEO, the group CEO, to visit Mr. Governor, okay, and explain what our plans. And I'm really happy to announce what the governor just said. So we want to invest $250 million. We want to improve our capacity by 20%. This is a demonstration of our commitment with our customers, with Kentucky, with all support. Okay, so the customers don't need to go a lot to outside to Asia to buy stainless steel. So with more capacity, this is what we want. Well, thank you very much, and I'm very proud.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I want to highlight an exciting project in Simpson County that will help continue the Commonwealth's momentum in the growing electric vehicle and EV battery industry. Liochem E-Materials will be locating a new facility in Franklin with a $104 million investment that's going to create 141 new full-time jobs. This project is producing and distributing materials that will directly contribute to a more durable, high capacity, and higher output EV battery. This product helps to improve the performance of lithium-ion batteries that are primarily used in electric vehicles. With this investment, we continue to show that Kentucky is now the electric vehicle battery production capital of the United States of America, and we look forward to continuing to grow with this company and so many others. You think about just since June of 2020, we've seen nearly $10 billion of new investment in the EV market and industry, and more than 8,900 new full-time jobs have been announced. We are truly on the cutting edge, and Liochem's decision to locate here in Kentucky is further evidence of this role we've been on. I want to thank this company for believing in the Commonwealth, believing in our people. Kentucky has had a long and successful history of working with Japanese-based companies like Liochem, and we are grateful that once again, another company has chosen the Commonwealth for their home. Now I'd like to introduce John Easley, president of Liochem Incorporated, who is moving to Kentucky to be one of our newest citizens, and we're thrilled about it, to say a few words.
Thank you, Andy.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much. So, as Andy mentioned, my name is John Easley. I'm the president and CEO of Liochem E-Materials, and I'm very thrilled to make Kentucky our home. The selection process took a little bit of time, but after visiting Simpson County and the site that we selected and meeting all the people in the state of Kentucky and having the support of the cabinet, of the economic development, and the Franklin Simpson Industrial Development Board, I couldn't be happier and more thrilled to call Kentucky our home. So I want to thank you, Governor, for the support, and thank you all, state of Kentucky, for supporting this venture. We look forward to being a part of your community. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I want to thank all the officials from Toyo, from Liochem that are here with us today. We will not let you down. Our word is our bond, and we are going to build and grow this facility so it does incredible things. We also have Judge Barnes here from Simpson County, who's been a good friend, but his county's economy has been on fire too, with so many great locations. What a great place to be right off 65 and providing great jobs for your families. So thank you, Judge. Now I want to talk about an incredible new project in Warren County where Carter Lumber Company is rebuilding and expanding operations. Carter Lumber is one of the nation's largest lumber and building materials suppliers and has been doing business since 1932. The company is building a new facility in Warren County with an $8.1 million investment that's going to create 86 quality jobs in that community. This investment is a key step for the company's rebuilding efforts following the devastating tornadoes that took place in December 2021. It is a reminder that while we are still picking ourselves up after that incredibly difficult disaster, our job is more than just to help our people get back up. We have to march forward to make sure that areas hit by something like this don't suffer and don't fall back, don't lose opportunities, but instead we double down to ensure that as we are rebuilding, we are providing more opportunities than ever before. This commitment from Carter Lumber, not to just rebuild, but to expand their business under these circumstances, is a testament to the company and a testament to what makes Kentucky so special. The new facility will feature state-of-the-art technology and equipment that will allow Carter Lumber to better serve customers who rely on their services. The new facility is expected to be completed by the end of the year, so thank you to Carter Lumber and your leadership. This next one is also from a county that got hit by those tornadoes, meaning now whether it's Graves County or here Marshall, whether it's that big facility we put in Hopkinsville, 26 miles from Dawson Springs, the hundreds of jobs that we announced in Muhlenberg County, we are really seeing jobs flowing to these areas that have been through so much. And I hope that it provides that hope for everybody, again, that it's not just rebuilding. There is a reason to stay. There's a reason to rebuild because there's a bright future there and everywhere else across Kentucky. So next up, I want to highlight an exciting new project within our state's booming manufacturing sector. Precision Sonar and Outdoors is an industry-leading producer of GPS and sonar mounting systems. It's going to be expanding operations with a $2.2 million investment in creating 12 full-time jobs. The project will see the company build a new facility near their existing location in Marshall County. And it's going to help the company be more efficient with additional space and a floor plan to assist with logistics and distribution. It's also going to house new equipment to provide in-house services that were previously outsourced. And let me just say that this project adds to our impressive manufacturing presence, which includes 5,000 facilities employing 250,000 people here in Kentucky. I want to thank Precision Sonar for their continued efforts to provide professional service to their customers and quality jobs for Kentuckians. And it would not be an economic development day and announcement in Kentucky if we didn't talk about bourbon. So finally, we have an announcement of new investment in Kentucky's signature bourbon industry with Henderson Distilling Company. This startup is establishing a new distillery in Henderson County with a $5 million investment that'll start out creating 12 full-time jobs. So they're locating in downtown Henderson, and they'll be rehabilitating the Henderson Municipal Power and Light Building to be used as a new distilling facility. The project includes a full production distillery, along with corresponding tourism and retail space. I want to thank the leaders of Henderson Distilling Company for placing trust in the people of Henderson and in Kentucky, and what a role bourbon's been on. You think last year we had, I think, $2.1 billion of new investments in the bourbon industry, $500 million more than in any previous year. Think about that for so many people around the world, bourbon may be their first introduction to Kentucky. And what a special product that it is. But to all these companies today and to everybody that is in the room, thank you. We are grateful. We look forward to working with you. And whether it's a new location or the 13th expansion or the 14th expansion, we look forward to continuing to work with you. All right, next we've got a special honor that we wanted to make sure that we did today. Today, I'm going to present a Kentucky Colonel to Master Senior Officer Teresa Holland. Officer Holland has served our Commonwealth for 44 years. She is an exceptional leader and caring member of the Georgetown community. She also served 7 years the Kentucky National Guard, the best National Guard in this entire country. She also served in Estill County EMS for 5 years. She served Georgetown Police for 20 years and earned a rank of Master Senior Officer. She's also taught domestic violence awareness, created safe classes to help with self-defense, and received numerous awards for her time with the Georgetown Police. So I'd like to invite everybody who's here for this up so that we can provide this Kentucky Colonel. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
Now I know that you've earned another title within the Georgetown Police. But today we are very pleased that we can call you Colonel Holland.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody like to say a word?
I'm Captain Josh Nash with the Georgetown Police Department. I just want to say thank you to
Officer Holland for her dedicated time with the Georgetown Police Department and the Commonwealth of Kentucky. She has served her citizens well, and we wish her the best in retirement.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor.
Yeah. Well, and to all our law enforcement across the Commonwealth, we love you. We care about you. Please stay safe. We need you. All right. Update on Eastern Kentucky flooding. This week marks 6 months since the floods that devastated Eastern Kentucky and took the lives of 44 Kentuckians. The day the floods hit, I made a promise, but so many others did too, that we would be there every day, every week, every month, and every year that it takes to rebuild. Our goal is not just to rebuild structure and rebuild lives, but to rebuild in a way that provides more opportunity. Before we review some of the recent milestones, we have a quick video looking back. Okay, in a minute, we'll have that quick video looking back. But Eastern Kentucky, let me say, we love you. We're going to be there for you. This is going to be the toughest rebuild, I think, in the history of the United States, but we are going to get it done. That's what we do as Kentuckians. Quick update. So far, the total approved from FEMA is more than $96.9 million. This next piece is important. It is $1.4 million increase since last week. Remember, we were averaging $600,000 to $700,000 of additional awards coming out. This is almost double that. Don't give up. Keep pursuing your claim. Since January 14th, an additional 14 applicants have received the full max of $37,900. So even if you've received some, continue to push. If you need help, call FEMA directly or go to a multi-agency resource center. $57.7 million has been provided by the U.S. Small Business Association. $154.6 million in total federal government assistance has therefore been provided to Kentucky. Our Commonwealth Sheltering Program, currently 235 households in travel trailers. That's down 8 from last week. It's a good thing. When that number of households transitioned out goes up, it means they found more permanent housing. It looks like we may have crested demand because, as you see, we only have 2 households that are pending, and they're both on private sites. If you look at the bottom, we've added a number of private sites, and they are more challenging because you got to make sure all the utilities are there and hook it up safely. So 240 travel trailers occupied, and about 40% of total households that have been in them have now transitioned out. State parks now down to 25 people. At one point, we had 360 in our state parks. 4 additional bridge replacements have been completed. Do we have the photo of the bridge that I was at in Perry County? So I got a chance, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, this week to be both in Pike and Perry County, and specifically went to this, a newly constructed bridge where one had been entirely wiped out. And let me tell you, the folks in the transportation cabinet and the contractors are doing a phenomenal job, because we're not just rebuilding. As you look at this, what we are rebuilding in many of these instances, especially this one, would be able to stand up to what we just endured, would be able to handle that one in every 100 or 200 year flood. And the pride of these incredible workers in building something in their community that could withstand even the most difficult was evident. And as you stood on this bridge and you looked opposite the road, you also saw a ton of flat land. So an opportunity in rebuilding to not only provide more resiliency, but to open up new areas and new possibilities for the people of Eastern Kentucky. Very proud of the work that these folks are doing. So in total, 1,100 bridges have been inspected, and 100 were found in need of replacement or repair. 33 bridges have been replaced, 13 repaired, 42 temporary crossings. Debris removal is complete. 404,000 tons have been collected, and 615 miles of streams have cleared. Remember, debris removal are the major debris. It still means that there is likely some smaller items that'll ultimately need to be picked up by the community or by others, but major debris removal is complete. If you still have debris that needs to be removed from your property, please contact your fiscal court. Before we announce the new Safe Fund awards, let's go to that video, because what we were trying to capture is this incredible spirit that you see after these events of Kentuckians helping Kentuckians.
Governor, you've gone several of these stops the last several days. Some of the takeaways that I know you'll be thinking of when you go home today.
Yeah, I was. Listen, it's hard, but it's not nearly as hard as it is on the families that are living through this every day. I got to go to a distribution center out in Floyd County, and a mom and her son could have been 6, going through, and he was trying on a pair of cowboy boots and just trying to get the boots on him, and he was so excited about them. He didn't have anything else. And mom trying to put on a strong front in front of him. You know what else I've seen? I've seen thousands of volunteers, people from each and every one of these communities, some of which have lost their house, some of which have lost part of it. Some didn't have any damage, and you know what? They want to be in one of these facilities helping out. It's been really special to see how we rally around each other, but that's who we are. And I think the rest of the world sees it when we have something like this. That second to last image was in Whitesburg, in a neighborhood where you'd walk to a house and you'd have about 9 people mucking it out. And you talk to the first person who walked out and you'd say, is this your home? And they'd say, no, mine's 3 down. And I'd say, how is that? And they'd say, we're all going to get to it next or after that. Pretty special thing. People sacrificing and banding together. We are a state filled of amazingly good and amazingly strong people. To support them, today I'm proud to announce $4.6 million in new awards from the Eastern Kentucky Safe Fund that was created through that nonpartisan special session. So credit all the way around to opening up these dollars. 3 projects have been approved for Fleming Neon, totaling just over $414,000. Fleming Neon was hit as hard as any other community. The Knott County Fiscal Court is set to receive $1.1 million to fund a FEMA match. Letcher County Water and Sewer District will receive over $390,000 to fund a FEMA match as well. Magoffin County Water District approved for $25,500. Mountain Water District, $300,000. City of Whitesburg, $160,000 for 3 projects submitted. So since September 2022, Eastern Kentucky has now received over $31.2 million in safe funds. Remember, these take time to roll in. We're going to use every dollar in that safe fund. We believe there's over $1 billion of damage just to water and sewer systems alone, but it takes time to come up with the estimates, to get the projects on track, and then to ultimately submit for reimbursement. $688,100 was approved from my finance cabinet for 3 projects as well. Kentucky Transportation Cabinet will be awarded over $1.4 million for the Knott County Olive Branch development. That's our first high ground community. And then when you look at property acquisition through the buyout program, already 32 properties have been approved. Those homeowners will receive $5.9 million. This is the fastest that buyout program has ever come into effect. Team Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund, $13.1 million received thus far, $4.4 million dispersed. A significant portion of the remaining will go toward long-term permanent housing in both the first and, as we'll mention, the second high ground community that we've announced. So on Tuesday, it's what we were showing you in the bridge pictures. We were able to announce some really good news for this area outside of just the Safe Fund for both Pike and Perry counties. First, we were able to announce over $3.8 million in awards to expand access to clean water and support nonprofits in Pike County. Clean water is a basic human right, and far too many of our citizens don't and can't enjoy it. This is our time to make sure every family can turn on the faucet, that they and their kids can know they have that security and reliability. That's why we committed $3.5 million in cleaner water program funding for 6 projects in Pike County. These awards are for Elkhorn City, the Mountain Water District, and the city of Pikeville. They are going to improve the lives of hundreds of our families. We also presented $330,000 from the Nonprofit Assistance Fund in Pike County. That was to Helping Hands of Phelps. That's a God's Pantry Food Bank, Appalachian Hospice Center, City of Pikeville Exposition Center, Judy's Place for Kids, which is a child advocacy center. The Pikeville Area Family YMCA, and we were in it, an incredible facility. They just built an amazing pool, as well as the Salvation Army of Pike County. Later that day, we were able to present $8 million in awards in Perry County for projects that will expand access to clean drinking water and support local nonprofits. A Cleaner Water Program and Appalachian Regional Commission awards were provided for the City of Buckhorn, the City of Hazard, and Perry County Fiscal Court. They're going to invest in infrastructure where, the water systems of all of these areas have been strained. But between these projects and what we're going to do for that Olive Branch community, we are going to, while we rebuild or build anew, we're going to address water issues that have existed for decades. And it's going to provide more reliability and capacity in these areas than they have seen maybe in a lifetime. In Perry County, I also presented awards to 7 nonprofits. They include Go Higher Employment and Development, the Challenger Learning Center of Kentucky. You all ought to look that up. They are now creating their next big experience about going to the moon and Mars. The Salvation Army of Perry County, Redbud Financial Alternatives, the Housing Development Alliance, one of our partners in this rebuild, Eastern Kentucky Concentrated Employment Program, and the Appalachian Arts Alliance. And one of the most exciting things we were able to do is announce that we are going to acquire our second high ground community, this time right outside of Hazard. The first was in Knott. This is in Perry. This site is a 50-acre site that's close to schools, shopping centers, and even Hazard's ARH Regional Medical Center. This site will support 150 new homes. It'll be partly funded by the Team Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund in partnership with so many great nonprofits. I want to thank the Eisen family, which is contributing this amazing property and land for the project. Now, we're still out there, and we will acquire more land for high ground communities, but pretty exciting. The first one we talked about being an early Christmas present. This one, actually, we announced on the birthday of the Perry County Judge Executive, so a birthday present to that community. All right, a quick weather update. Last night, we saw some scattered snow showers throughout the Commonwealth. They've continued in the morning and likely will throughout the rest of the day. Depending on where you are, accumulation could reach an inch or possibly more, and we're seeing 15 to 25 mile-an-hour winds. So stay weather aware. Make sure you're checking it each morning and throughout the day, especially if you're out driving. I also today wanted to give an update on the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. That was an incredible step that Kentucky and many other states have taken, and it is providing help to more people than ever before. So it's been 6 months since we took part in the national changeover to 988. That is the 3-digit suicide and mental health crisis lifeline. It is the mental health version of 911, and it's designed to send you to people that are specifically trained to help you with that mental health crisis. Since making the switch from the 10-digit National Suicide Lifeline, because you used to have to put in 10 digits, not just 3, to get that specifically trained help that you need. Trained counselors have now responded to an average of 2,420 calls per month. That means that since 988 has been instituted, we've had a 26% increase in calls per month in comparison to the first half of 2022. But with higher numbers of calls, we've seen a 14% decrease in abandoned calls because you're not having to wait as long. And 92% of call centers across the state have answered in less than 20 seconds. You don't want to have somebody on hold when they're going through a mental health crisis. This is great news. It means the 988 helpline is working. I'm proud of everybody who came together and made this possible. And remember, it's okay to not be okay, right? We all go through difficult times. And sometimes we go through trauma that our bodies and our minds are not designed to take, that nobody could handle no matter how strong we are. So please reach out. These are people who have trained and who have helped other people that are ready to help you through your most difficult time. And let me tell you, you got people out there that love you, whether it feels like it or not. They love you. They want you to be with them the next day and the next year and the next decade. So if you need that help, please dial 988. No stigma, no shame, just a community and a commonwealth that loves you and wants you to get the help that you need. In other public health news, flu is at elevated levels, but it continues to decline. Remember, the flu shot works really well against this strain. Now, I'm told that later this week, a backlog of positive flu cases is likely to be reported. That's outside of state government, but will come into us. That may make our numbers look elevated. They are not. Those will be historic cases, and we can confirm to you that the trend for flu is declining. COVID, we have not seen the substantial increases in hospitalization or cases that we saw after the holidays last year. And we're kind of bumping up and down a little bit, month to month, but nothing like what we've previously lived through. And if we see the map for this week, and of course there'll be a new map that will be coming out tonight, it's a little bit better, if I remember correctly, than last week was. And remember, a lot of the graphs that we go through don't give you the same information anymore. But if we could do the bar graph for cases, you're seeing kind of the up, down, and that's what we used to call a plateau, though cases are certainly underreported. But if we can just go to the hospitalization slide, I think that is good news, right? We had seen an increase, though there was a lot going around that could have contributed to hospitalization. But now I think that's a clear trend that whatever increase that we saw seems to be subsiding. I do have to implore people, though, please get the new booster. I believe that it is safe and effective. I've had it. Brittany has had it. We would have never done that if we didn't both truly believe that it was safe and effective. But only about 12% of Kentuckians that qualify have gotten it. We believe that again, it's really important to continue to get back to our daily lives, that as many of us as possible get that updated vaccine or that booster. And we still encourage everyone, make wise decisions, right? If you think you've been exposed to somebody, wear a mask until you're sure that you're not positive. If you have underlying health conditions, think about that mask in big public spaces. I know people who are really excited about something that's coming up that want to make sure that they don't test positive before it. That could be getting friends together or others. Masking when you choose to is a safe and effective tool. So please consider it when you believe that you need it. Okay, as a brief update on DJJ, next week the Jefferson Juvenile Detention Center will reopen and begin accepting male juveniles who have been ordered to secure detention. The detention center was temporarily taken offline in November after facilities management performed a test fire alarm, which raised questions about the system. And listen, it just wasn't safe to have people there at that time. Since that time, DJJ has been making improvements to the facility, including upgrades to doors, locks, fire alarm systems, and the control center. The building has now been cleared for partial occupancy and will house around 10 males. We are reopening one living unit at a time. The other 2 living units we are continuing to provide upgrades to. Once those units are finished, we'll open those to another 20 males, so for a total of 30. This facility, based on our new plan, will house juveniles younger than 14 or who have been charged with a lower level offense. They'll be at the Jefferson Detention Facility. And our belief is that all or substantially all of them will likely be from the Jefferson County area. Remember, we still try to direct our lower level offenders, those that have been charged with a lower level crime, to the closest facility that we can. This facility has experienced violent outbursts from juveniles in the past, and some of the changes we have made to the Juvenile Justice Center will better protect the youth in this facility. In this case, they will be separated from those charged with much more serious crimes, going from C-level felonies all the way up to capital murder. DJJ Central Office leadership will be filling in at the Jefferson Detention Center until a new superintendent is hired. I expect Jefferson to quickly hire a new team now that we have raised the youth worker salary to $50,000 annually. Listen, we're committed to fixing the challenges on these detention facilities. These are pre-adjudication detention facilities. They are just one part of a broader Department of Juvenile Justice. But we know that we've seen violence within this system and the disruptions that causes to services and meals and showers and visits to our other youth that aren't engaging in those disruptions. So we've acted, and we will continue to act. We will continue to take steps to make this into a safe system where we can protect not only youth, but our staff that have been assaulted numerous times. And I just want to make sure when we talk about all of this, yes, we need to make sure that facilities are more secure, and we will. But let's never try to rationalize when one human being commits an incredibly violent act against another. And let's make sure we put responsibility on an offender that attacks either staff or another youth, as well as any changes that we need to make. Changes that we've made include opening the first female-only detention center. They include separating the juveniles by the severity of their offense. We're working to expand the DJJ transportation branch, and that will alleviate the concerns of local law enforcement. I get it. I get why they have concerns. We had to move fast, but we will alleviate and address them. We're making substantial improvements to the physical facilities themselves. We hired one of the best respected wardens who'd retired from DOC, who's doing security audits and is going to be our head of security. For the first time, we're making defensive equipment available to DJJ youth workers. We can't recruit people, even with their new salary, if we do not give them the means to defend themselves if attacked. We're creating a compliance division to ensure best practices are identified and allowed. We're reorganizing the department itself, and we're procuring equipment and training personnel to better prevent the introduction of contraband to these facilities. And finally, our Team Kentucky All-Star, which is Ethan Almighty. So Ethan is a dog that travels the Commonwealth to bring awareness for the Kentucky Humane Society shelters and reminds us of what still needs to be done to protect animals from neglect and abuse. In 2021, Ethan was abandoned in a parking lot of the Kentucky Humane Society, and he was given a 10% chance of survival. At the time, he couldn't lift his head. He couldn't really even eat or drink on his own. Jeff Calloway, an amazing Kentucky Humane Society employee, he's in the purple, adopted him, and since he has made a full recovery. Now, Ethan travels far and wide to teach us the importance of caring for our animals, and he even won the 2022 Hero Dog Award from the American Humane Society. Earlier this week, I got to meet Ethan. He could smell Winnie on me, so that meeting went pretty well as all the inspiring Humane Society workers. We declare January as the Ethan Almighty Shelter Awareness Month. Ethan brings joy to everybody he meets, and so in his honor, but the entire Beshear family, including Winnie, who appreciates Ethan's gift and is trying to represent for him, are proud of Ethan for being our Team Kentucky All-Star. With that, we will open it up to questions. We'll start with Christiana Ford.
Hi, Governor.
Hey.
How are you? Every year we know that power bill, energy costs can skyrocket in the winter months, and we knew this would be a tough season. But what we're seeing right now is because of that fuel adjustment cost that's being passed on to customers, some people are experiencing double, even triple their power bills. And I talked to people in Eastern Kentucky. They are helpless right now. They've utilized some social services, and they're on the payment plans, and they still cannot come up with a solution. We know that the Public Service Commission is investigating this. We haven't heard much from them on that. But these people wanted me to come here and ask you, what is their government doing to try to protect them right now and be immediate?
So especially in Eastern Kentucky, power rates have been too high for a long time. It's why I took on those power companies as Attorney General. and not only prevented some rate increases, we actually got a rate decrease while I was Attorney General. We had never seen that before. Certainly Eastern Kentucky, which has already faced that challenge now with what's happening globally, that contributes to increased energy prices, are making it even more difficult. At least 2 programs exist out there that could help people in addition to visiting your community action council that provides so many services. One is the LIHEAP program. There is not enough money in it, but it is a first come, first served program, and we want to make sure people know about it and how to apply to it. I would visit your CAC, which can help you fill that out. Let's get as much of that distributed to Kentuckians as possible. The second, and this is for home owners, because our federal eviction relief fund is getting close to running out of money. It was always intended by the federal government to be a temporary program, and after providing $200+ million in aid, we expect that in the coming months to be depleted. But there is still the home owner fund that we have that can be used to help with utilities. So you can go on our website, and that's the tips to save that we have, and look up how to apply for that program. But I would say that there's lots of other nonprofits and other assistance out there. Your community action council are filled with amazing people. That would be the first step. We'll look for any other programs that we can tap into, knowing it's a big issue, and getting our people through this time of inflation, which is tough. I think it's temporary, but it's going on a while, is something we've got to do.
So safe to say you're looking into this personally.
Oh, yeah. Anytime our people are struggling, I'm concerned. Tom Latek.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon. The North American stainless work kind of inspired this. Haven't heard anything about Brady Industries / Unity Aluminum for a while. What is the status with that project, the land, and the money that the state gave them a few years ago?
So I'm proud to report that we have recovered every dollar that the state provided to Brady. That is back in the state coffers and has been, I think, for at least several months. It is available to be deployed to another project that would meet the requirements, but most likely, comes back into our general fund and will be there for the General Assembly to appropriate. We are also in the process, if it's not already fully done, of acquiring all the land. And by all the land, I mean first the land that was provided to Brady, but also they purchased several additional acreages that are highly usable. And one includes, I believe, a spec building as well, which is highly desirable. We are acquiring those as well, and we are acquiring them at under what the company paid. Unity especially was very easy to work with. Wanted to try to make things right. And while they've announced their large facility in another state, we do hope that there's an opportunity for future Steel Dynamics. Is what dealing with Steel Dynamics has been easy, not necessarily Unity. Dealing with Steel Dynamics has been easy, and we hope that we have opportunities to do business with them. I mean, especially a company that has come in and suddenly we're able to do what we thought was impossible and recover the dollars and the land. They've certainly earned a lot of points in my book. We do believe that it won't be long until we start locating jobs on that land. We have a couple that are already interested. It would be, I believe this one that I'm thinking about would be an expansion, but would save jobs and add them to the region. Phil Pendleton.
Governor, the first major poll of the governor's race is out, showing you with a 61% approval rating. And if the race was held today, according to what they have surveyed, you would be facing Daniel Cameron and being by 9 points. Any reaction to that?
Well, everybody loves a poll that looks good for them, but I'm just trying to be the best governor I can be day to day. Now, any approval rating that you see, I attribute to us just working hard every day to address the challenges that every parent and family is worried about. Does my job pay enough to provide opportunities for my kids and security that we can put food on the table? Can I afford to take my parents or my kids to a doctor when they're sick? Are my kids getting the best education? And is my community and are my family members safe? Those are the things that if we continue to work on, I think people see that this administration isn't trying to pull Kentucky to the right or left, but just to move it forward. And in the end, I think if we continue to do a good job and create those brighter futures, the people of Kentucky will ask us to keep doing it for another 4 years. Mark Vanderhoff.
Well, Phil asked my question, so I'll ask a follow-up to that. I mean, there's supposed to be more registered Republicans in Kentucky than Democrats. So how do you explain these numbers?
Well, I look at these numbers and they confirm to me that there's nothing Democrat or Republican, red or blue, about a good job, about affordable and accessible health care, or about public safety or education. These are all things that all of us as parents want for our kids. And when we're the people that we should be, we want them for everybody else's kids too. We've been through a lot together these last 3 years. We have sacrificed for each other. We've lived through things that nobody thought we'd face in such a short time. But look at the hope and possibility in front of us. I mean, our best years for economic development, beating out states that we used to not beat, having companies that used to overlook Kentucky, locating amazing facilities here. And I truly feel that we are turning the page, and the prosperity that's going to come is going to lift up every family, D or R or otherwise. And I've always believed that we are Kentuckians first, and that we care about one another. The tough times remind us of that. What we need to do is remember it in the good times, so we make sure that our arguments or our divisions don't prevent that family that we might disagree on an issue with from having that brighter future too. Anna Medina.
Governor, with the new proposed changes for the BJJ, do you think it would have prevented the incident that happened earlier this week at Warren County?
Well, the incident that happened in Warren County this week was 3 juveniles, all of which have been charged with a C-level felony or above. One's been charged with capital murder of refusing to follow the typical schedule, causing a disruption. The staff was able to deal with it without bringing in law enforcement, which is an improvement. But where we need to get to is where we have enough of a security presence where it doesn't happen in the first place. Because we don't want services disrupted even to other folks that are in a higher level facility. So I view this, and I think our workers, I hope, do too, as we are taking steps to get this to the right place, but it's going to take those steps. We still have to recruit a number of more workers. We've got to train them in the new defensive techniques that they're going to be able to use. So I believe we are on our way, and certainly this one could have been worse, but anytime one of our staff is assaulted, I'm not going to be happy about it. And I'm going to want us to figure out what that next thing we can do to protect them and the rest of the youth are. All right, Melissa Patrick.
Hi, Governor. I'd like to ask you about Kelly Craft's ads, since the latest one says you are ignoring the border crisis. And she noted last week that you didn't mention the drug issue in your state of the Commonwealth. Looking at that speech, I see a one-sentence nod to recovery-ready communities, but not much else. Can you speak to her ads, and is there a reason that you didn't spend more time on the drug issue in that speech?
Well, a strong national security requires strong border security. That's why both under President Trump and under President Biden, I have responded and said yes to requests for our Kentucky National Guard to assist in securing the border. Since I've been governor, we've had, I believe, 700 plus different National Guardsmen and women that have gone at different times to the border to provide security. And that's when some other states have said no. We've had more National Guard down there since I've been governor than ever before in the Bevin, and then before in the Bevin administration. And this service has been heroic. It's also been tragic. We lost a National Guardsman to a health condition while he was deployed at the border. But for somebody wanting to be governor to talk about the border and to not mention the sacrifice and heroic service of our National Guard and recognize their loss, I think is disrespectful and disqualifying. Kentucky has stepped up to do its part, and that ought to be recognized even by somebody who really wants a job. Austin Horn.
Thank you, Governor. I'm wondering if you have any comments about what the conditions were like last year in the Adair BJJ Center and some of the new information that's come out about that particular center in the past week or so.
And which the Adair County? Yeah, the conditions in our DJJ facilities have deteriorated over time, and they've deteriorated over time for both good and bad reasons. This was a system that was set up 20 years ago when the majority of those sent to them were convicted, were charged with lower level or even status offense. Not those aren't crimes, but status offenses. That has changed because legislation is now taking many of those lower level offenders or those charged with status offenses and giving them different types of community services instead. And that's a good thing. But what it did is it dramatically changed the makeup in these facilities. Then when Louisville ceased its operations, it added a number of additional youth into existing facilities that were already around, compounded by staffing shortages caused by so many years of not seeing raises, plus the elimination of pensions, has created real challenges within the system. When you talk about one specific or two individuals in the system, it's challenging for us to respond because their health information is protected under HIPAA, and we can't respond with why isn't this service provided to this individual or that service provided to that individual. What we have seen is there are certainly holes in the law and in our system. For instance, we've had youth that are so mentally ill that they certainly need to be in a psychiatric type hospital. But we've attempted to place one individual 8-9 times and has actually gone to 2 or 3, assaulted staff, and they said no, and thus come back to our facility because a judge ordered us. Now, nobody's in these facilities without a court order, and we're looking for the legal changes and other options to where we could get individuals that would be better off in a different type of facility, but that those facilities won't take them right now. Trying to find a better option for them. And while there are only a few of individuals that fall into that, they still need better options than exist right now. But listen, in the end, we're not running from these issues. We're going to run towards them. The goal is to get it fixed, regardless of whether or not it makes news or the rest. I mean, every time that we see a problem, we ought to be trying to find the best solutions for it. We've got to make these facilities safe and secure, and then provide the best services that we can. I'd add one last note of clarification in that what we are talking about that has seen the challenges are pre-adjudication detention facilities. So these are where a judge has ordered that they go to a detention facility until they stand trial and are or are not convicted. I just want to mention the types of services that you can provide somebody who is awaiting trial can be limited, because you could violate some of their constitutional rights by the types of questions that you ask and the services that you are providing. It's hard to talk about someone's alleged crime with them and why they would or would not have done it when they have not been convicted of that charge. So I mentioned all this. None of it is an excuse, but it is a complicated, difficult system that we are going to get right. All right. Thank you all very much. We'll be back next week.